We have Sukkot coming up in 48 hours. So I just want to show you a couple of the things of the Etrog really quickly. Can you get me a Chumash, please? A Chumash. I want to show you something from Unkelus ben Kelunikus. And we're going to have an actual Etrog? We had them yesterday, but I'm going to show you from the photo that I pulled up just a couple of the how to identify, not how to check. We're not going to do that today, but how to identify. So we're going to Vayikra 2340. So Vayikra 2340. David, you get this in the Kollel over there? You don't get this in the Kollel over there like this. You don't get this over there, right? It says Parashat Emor. Parashat Emor. By the way, guys, trick question. I don't know if it's trick anymore now that I told you Parashat Emor, but what's the parashiyot that have all of the holidays in them? There's two parashiyot have all the holidays. One of them is Parashat Emor. What's the other one? What's the other one? Pinhas. Pinhas. There's two parashiyot that have in them all the holidays. All the berachot of the holidays, all the pesukim. One of them Parashat Emor. And then later, Pinhas ended up getting also blessed that in his parasha also is the holidays. So riddle, yeah, korbanot. The korbanot is different, but so riddle. What parashiyot have in them all of the holidays? Say Emor and Pinhas. Pinahas, Emor and Pinahas, Emor and Pinahas. Say it a couple of times. You remember. Next time you need to check up a holiday, one look at pasuk you do. So we're in Vayikra 23:40. Ulkachtem nachem. ביום הראשון פרי עץ הדר כפות תמרים בענף עץ אבות וערבי נחל ושמחתם לפני ה' אלוהיכם שבעת ימים. פרי עץ הדר. Let me look at Unkelus. ותיסבון לכון ביומה קדמה פרא אילנה. Etrogin. He calls pri etzadar and etrog. It's in the Aramite. So when we say the word etrog, it's the Aramite word for pri etzadar. Velulabin. He calls the anaf the kapot temarim lulabin, and he calls anaf etz avot hadasin. It's Aramite. And then he calls the arve nachal arvin dinchal v'tehedun kodam anay el hachon shavat yomin. So if you look at Unkelus, all the terminology that we use is not the Torah's terminology. We use Unkelus terminology. We call it Etrog, Lulav, Hadas, and Arava. All the words there, not generally the words that are in the pasuk. So I wanted to just quickly show you from the Etrog, so you can kind of see some of the parts of the Etrog. So when you go, you don't have to be Nam Ha'aretz every time you're shopping every year. I mean, you should know some of the identification. So you have on there David, you have the Shoshanta on top. Now, a lot of the times you get those Etrogim without the Pitom. So when you don't have it, the Yemenites, they don't have it, right? The Pitam on top. No, you don't have it. So that's the other one. This is the other style. And then you have the chotam right there, the top area. That's the area that a person is going to examine for kashrut and for quality. Obviously, kashrut is determined on the whole thing, but the quality is determined on the 1/3 on the top. Okay? And then you have the gufa etrog, and then you have the oketz on the bottom. Now, it's interesting. You see how I'm holding this? This is not how the etrog grows on the tree. You know that, Lior? Yeah. Etrog doesn't grow this way. You know how an etrog grows? It grows like that. That's how an etrog grows. It's very interesting. What's even more interesting is that etrog en lo ona. It has no season. Which means if you have an etrog, how do you think they get these watermelon etrogs? Okay? It's not because pesticides and they didn't give it vitamins and they didn't send the fruits to GMC to get muscular. How do they do it? They leave it on the tree and they cover it for a different reason, for insects. They don't want the insects to get into it. But they use tons of pesticides on etrogim, tons, because they don't want to risk the crop dying. And because people don't eat it, people don't generally eat etrogim. Pesticides is like the poison they put on so that insects don't come on it. Because they know that they're not selling this for consumption, many times I asked a few of the farmers, they put a lot of chemicals on them. Why is this important? Because if you intend on making a jelly out of this, it needs to be washed and rinsed really, really well, because otherwise those chemicals go into the jelly. So just be aware from the farmers. I asked them this question already. They never intended on you eating this etrog. It was intended on you using it for a week and then, putting it into a closet or something.
But you use it for eating?
Well, well, not the ones that they're growing. These etrogim are money makers. This is a cash crop. The guy the whole year he grows it on his farm. Like when we went to one of the places. Kfar Chabad had it. They had a gorgeous farm of etrogim. I saw the whole thing. I never saw this in my life till I went there. And I recommend you go to Israel. Go to the etrogim farms. They're unbelievable. Etrog also has thorns on it, big thorns like this. Kotzim.
It's worth it to grow the whole farm for etrogim only for 1 week.
Oh, you bet. You bet. Wait, by the way, last year, you know how much my etrog? I went to get the best etrog from one of these Chabad guys, Rabbi Citron. I shouldn't say guys. It's a rabbi, Tamid Hakam. He was like, I was like, how much is it? He's like, this is the best one I have. I'm like, all right. I'm like, let me guess, 770. He's like, yeah, 770. I'm like, is that the top? I'm like, he came up with some. That was enough. But I don't know how much he bought it for. It's not my business. But I could assume,
Forget him buying it.
Yeah.
The economics. Like when you think about growing a tree thing, like.
You should know. I was listening to Cham Musafi yesterday. He said that in the olden days, not everybody went out and bought a lulav and etrog. It was the rabbi that would go out. Now, there's a few reasons for this. Initially, on the onset, you think, oh, wow, today we're much better. We go out and we buy them on our own. Well, not really. Hacham Musafi said that the Ben Ish Hai used to do it, and thousands of people would come to the Ben Ish Hai in order to do the lulav and etrog and raise it and put it up. So he said just on the first day, he had like 4 etrogim, because after 1,000 people would hold the etrog, it would destroy the etrog. And he said, furthermore, why was it good that when the rabbi only bought 1? He goes, because the rabbi would make sure to get the best etrog, the best lulav, the best hadassim, the best aravot. He would make sure mehudar, kasher lemehadrin, and he would do the beracha himself, and then he would allow other people to do it. Now, how did he do it with other people? Because you're not allowed to be sho'el for the lulav and etrog, for the arba minim. So, for you. So you can't now. So how'd you do it? Now they can't do it on a she'ela because then you don't own it. It's not lachem. So what they do matana al menat lahazir. That he would give it to each person. He would do it, and then he would be able to make the bracha. Right now, as an important note, we only carry lulav and etrog mideoraita from the first day of the holiday. The rest of the holiday, it's only the rabbanan. But when it comes to the mitzvah of sukkah is a deoraita the entire 7 days of the holiday, no matter what. So if a person had to invest $1,000 in either arba haminim or in a sukkah, you're better off in a sukkah. A sukkah is deoraita, it's 7 days, and you can go sho'el, take a matana al menat lahazir for the lulav and etrog. That's it. The guy's limited. So the person should spend more money on the mitzvah that gets him olam haba. And tomorrow we're going to talk about unbelievable sigulot of what a person can gain from sitting and sleeping in the sukkah. Unbelievable sigulot. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. And so this was the custom back then. When the Ben Ish Hai they would get 1. Everyone would do it. It would be very careful with it. And that's what they did on the holiday.
I also feel like there was more, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like from all the stories you hear, there's also so much more importance placed on the etrog. They're like, he was telling his wife, I'm going to sell this to buy an etrog. And today, you look at an etrog, you go, you take it in the store.
Yeah, I mean, today there's a lot of things that's mishubash, which means it became mixed and things like that. But Baruch Hashem, that's our small talk today on the etrog, and let's go now into our next learning.